Hello, children. It's Mountain Coaster Cat here. Just wanted to talk about my home park of Elitch Gardens. Just good, kind of like a review, fairly casual, you know. So I've been here like 3 times, and 2 of the times I was major GP, and I was still quite a GP, so I did not ride really anything. The most recent time, I rode 2 of the rides and did not have the time to get everything in. Even though it's a small park, we were just, kind of tired. Didn't have the time to do those. Also, I really apologize that my voice hasn't changed. I know it's kind of cringe listening to children talk in these videos. But, if you could look aside from that, that would be great. Yeah. So anyway, this park is home to, I think, 5 roller coasters. I'm not very good at keeping track. Let me count them real fast. Yeah, I think there's 5. And none of which are particularly amazing. There's some that, like, they're okay. The best coaster at this park, I would say, is Sidewinder, by far. It actually has some pretty decent airtime and very good-looking coaster. And I wouldn't say the loop really pulls any good forces, but it's still a very fun sensation. It's also pretty cool going backwards and getting a little bit of airtime. I've actually only ridden 2 roller coasters here because, again, I have not visited this place enough. Like, the times I've visited it in the past, I was slightly GP still. So really the last 2 visits I've, kind of came out of that GP phase. The park atmosphere as a whole, I mean, it's nice, but, like, it just feels like kind of like an American amusement park, like America. It has a decent amount of flat rides, none of which are particularly extraordinary. I really haven't been on too many of those. I don't really like flat rides. They're okay. Like they have Intamin 2nd Generation Drop Tower, and they have like a Star Flyer, that type of thing. And they have obviously a classic Ferris wheel, which we can see here. I doubt you can see that, but maybe. And like the park as a whole, they got some good food services and stuff too. But my favorite thing here is the roller coasters, for sure. So here we can see probably one of the older roller coasters at the park. This is Twister 2. It's a wooden roller coaster built by like some whack company. It's a construction company that only built 1 roller coaster ever. So, they didn't exactly have the most experience. It runs pretty smoothly. It's not super rough or anything. I actually really like this roller coaster, even though a lot of people don't. I think the first drop is kind of weird, but kind of good at the same time. But after like a trim break, like I wouldn't exactly call it a mid-course brake run because there's only like 1 or 2 breaks. I think it actually gets better. Maybe I'm just weird though. So it gives you a pretty good view of the park from the top, as we can see here. You can see Boomerang, you can see the Intamin halfpipe, and the drop tower, and the Larson loop. And then you start to pick up a little bit of speed here. And the drop's kind of weird because it's not really that steep. Nothing on this coaster is really very steep at all. The airtime is non-existent, but it's still pretty fun. There's some okay laterals and stuff, some spots. Like, I wish it just did a little bit more, maybe. It feels like the most complete roller coaster I've ridden at the park, since I have not ridden too many. But, it also seems a little bit sketch, and, like, most roller coasters, they have a little bit of sway, most wooden roller coasters especially. But this one has, like, 5 feet of sway when you're cresting the lift hill thing. Oh, by the way, this is the little weird mid-course brake run thing I was talking about. It's just like a trim brake, but I consider it the mid-course. After this part, people go nuts in the tunnel. It really hurts your ears, and I hate it. I don't know why. I just kind of find this part fun. It's closer to the ground. Maybe that's why. But still kind of losing a lot of speed here. Not doing quite as well. No mild floater at all on this ride. Just a little bit. So that's kind of whack. But, the other roller coasters here are probably a little better. So this is the Arrow Shuttle Loop Sidewinder at Elitch Gardens, and this is my personal favorite roller coaster at the park. It's not like super fast or anything. Like, it only goes like 40 miles per hour. It's pretty slow. But you get some pretty good airtime dropping off the first drop and coming backwards. I didn't get that much because I was kind of in the middle. For some reason, they assigned me to the middle, but they did not assign the rest of my family. I don't know what that was all about. It's kind of mean, you know what I mean? But, like, it's a pretty good ride overall. That's where you get the airtime there. The loop, like, it almost doesn't even feel like it's there. I haven't ridden any other eras, so maybe that's what they all feel like. But I like, was kind of even questioning if there was a loop. I had my eyes open, too. And this part's kind of boring, but also at the same time, it builds some good anticipation. A girl here was asking her father if she could say the S word, so that was fairly entertaining. And then this is, the part where you get a pretty good view, although the over-the-shoulder restraints in the front of the train make it a little bit hard to see, along with this random person's POV. Like, if you're sitting in the front here, you get good airtime, I'm sure. And, yeah, there's that loop, you get some nice stuff there. And they come up kind of slowly there. You don't really feel any forces. That's about it. Damn. Oh, I can cut that, right? He's like, oh, maybe. Yeah. So, there are some other roller coasters at this park that I have not ridden. One being Mind Racer, which is a Vekoma SLC, which has a terrible reputation. And then there's another, there's two other roller coasters here I've not ridden. Also, they have a kiddie coaster, which I really want to ride, but for some reason you have to be short, which is really annoying. Why do they do that? It's not like I'm going to, kill myself or anything on the ride. They also have an Intamin half pipe, which is probably the second best coaster in the park. I have not ridden that either. I plan to do it next time I go, along with the others. And then they have a Vekoma Boomerang, which I've heard kind of mixed things about. It's a Vekoma Boomerang, so it's not exactly the most varied layout. I have yet to ride one, though, so I'm sure I would think it's fairly entertaining the first time. And, it's just not an extremely strong roller coaster collection. I don't see the park ever putting in anything bigger, like roller coaster wise. In fact, there's a lot of rumors that they're going to close. That might be stopped because of coronavirus, though. Who knows? But, kind of just walking through the park, you have your entrance. And the entrance has kind of a, I suppose, kind of grand feel. It's not really the nicest entrance. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what I've seen of Thorpe Park. When you walk into Thorpe Park, you kind of go into this gift shoppy area, kind of like large domed area. There's at Elitch Gardens, there's an arcade sort of area and some cotton candy stores and weird things like that. It's not exactly the most visually appealing, but once you get out of that building, you can see the entrance off to your right to the water park, and that place is really ugly. I wish they'd rip down the water park immediately because I don't like water parks. And then you also have your kind of Main Street area, and that place is cool but very fake feeling. You're okay, everything's just a facade. Most of the buildings you go into are just dumb candy stores that are way overpriced. That's a lot of amusement parks though, I suppose. Then you kind of come out into this main area right in front of this Ferris wheel, and that's quite nice. I always kind of like seeing that view. There's always some nice flower display underneath the Ferris wheel, and then you see a lot of really cool, kind of foliage, nice trees, that type of thing. And you also are going to see two paths that lead off in two different directions. And I almost always take the one that goes to the right. It just seems like the right one to do. And then you come by this weird Hoos ride. Don't really know what the ride model is. I don't really care about flat rides that much. Anyway, then you kind of see, classic swing ride, some of those classic rides. You have your slingshot, which of course is an upcharge attraction. And then you have a large food court around there, and then on your left, if you take the left path, you have your kiddie section, which is not, it takes up way too much room in the park if you ask me, because it's just a very small plot of land in general. And then if you keep going on the left side, you're also going to pass some of your concession, all your cheesy, stupid games. And then if you keep going, you're going to kind of pass over by more of that type of thing. There's some flat rides, bigger flat rides on the other side of the park, where you get towards the back by the Twister 2 and the Broncos Stadium, kind of. A lot of good stuff like that. So, I did not personally attend this my brother went with his friend who has blonde hair to Elitch Gardens Fright Fest, which I imagine is similar to a lot of Six Flags Fright Fest, because Elitch's used to be a Six Flags park, and in some ways they still operate like one. They have a lot of one-train op stuff and pretty slow operations. And he will share his opinion now. I don't think he liked it too much.
Alright, so my experience wasn't very good when I went with my friends. So, I'll tell you what happened. So, basically, we were on the Ferris wheel for like 30 minutes because for some reason the ops wouldn't take us off for some reason. It was really strange. Oh, just to let you know, I'm a little bit GP, right?
Yeah, he's a little bit GP, but I am too, you know.
But yeah, basically that happened, and we got on. Well, first of all, the lines were really, really long. So we got there at around 4 o'clock, kind of a big mistake. Because, if we got earlier, I don't think the fright stuff would be around. But yeah, I mean, it was an okay experience. I mean, we got to ride, we got a night ride on the, it's called Dragon Wing. It's behind the SLC over there. It's that purple one over there. And that was cool, but really, we went on Kaleidoscape, which is one of their, like, I guess you could say indoor.
Really cool Meow Wolf shooting dark ride, yeah.
It's cool.
That's probably the coolest ride in the entire park.
Yeah, and then we went on this really cool, like, Troika thing that gave you some pops of airtime, actually. It's kind of cool. And I really, really, really wanted to go on the kiddie coaster, but the line was really long and I was too tall. But my friend had brought his little brother, and he was really tiny, but I couldn't find him to ride it with me.
Couldn't get the cred.
Yeah, I couldn't get the credit. But yeah, and then all the fright stuff started happening, and we were over by like the Dippin' Dots area, and this like fool kept sliding in front of us, and he was like dressed up, and he would just like lurk in that Dippin' Dots place, and then he'd just come out and slide in front of people, and it was like, it was really weird.
I did not go to this. I know a lot of people like Fright Fest. I don't really. Like, yeah. I've never experienced it. I don't think I'd like it. We don't really like, you know, it's more fun to be exhilarated by the roller coasters, I think, than by scare actors. I know a lot of people will disagree with this opinion.
But, yeah, we didn't really ride any coasters because the lines were really long. And the only one that didn't really have a long line was, surprisingly, the SLC, but we really just didn't want to ride that. So, yeah, that's pretty much my experience. It wasn't that great.
So, I would not exactly recommend visiting Elitch Gardens unless you are close to it, live in the area, or, you know, you're driving by or something like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun park.
It's a fun park. Yeah, I don't also, unless it's busy, which it does get quite busy because it's in downtown Denver. A lot of people come there in the summer. You don't even really probably need a full day here. Like, they have a lot of attractions, but nothing on their flat rides list is extremely unique, nor are their roller coasters. I mean, their wooden coaster may be destroyed soon if the park has to close due to housing developments that Denver wants to put on its plot of land. And, you know, I think their steel coasters will probably be relocated, but who knows. They're owned by the same people that owned Magic Springs in Arkansas.
Yeah, they used to be owned by Six Flags.
Yeah, neither park is extremely strong. So, yeah, I mean, if I was going to rate this park on a scale of 1 to 100, I would probably give it about a 46. It was like, you know, the park itself is fine. It's just nothing out of this world. And the you know, the mediocre roller coaster count does not, you know, roller coaster diversity does not exactly help it. Goodbye.
Hit that sub and that like. We'll see you later.